Hi everyone, I'm Max Haddad. Welcome back, and if this is your first time, welcome. Today, I wanted to answer a really good question that I've been getting pretty frequently. Oh, there's another question I've been getting first, which is teach us how to make prison taffy. I mentioned it in an earlier video where you take Kool-Aid in a certain amount and non-dairy creamer in a certain amount, mix it with a certain amount of water, and you get amazing prison taffy if you put it in the microwave for a certain amount of time. And I would love to teach you guys how to make that. It is honestly some of the best candy I've ever had, and it definitely got me through some lonely nighttime hours of being incarcerated. And I decided that since it is a long kept family recipe, that I should save it. We'll do it as a 1,000 subscriber special. I know that's not going to happen tomorrow, and I know you guys really want this recipe, but I really love this recipe, and to be honest, it's going to be a nightmare of a video to make because I don't know where I'm going to be. Kool-Aid's easy, okay, but this specific type of creamer, I don't know that I would trust any other kind because it's going to, yeah, anyways. And the water, I mean, where am I going to get water? But I thought that was a good idea for myself. For you guys, kind of something to look forward to. I would love to teach you to make it. I'll definitely make a few different kinds, brown sugar, cherry, and then like a strawberry lemon or something like that twisted together. It's been a long time, but I'm sure I can still do it. Anyways, I spent way too much time talking about that. The question that I wanted to talk about today, that a few people have asked me, at least a few people, is what are prison toilets like? And I thought that this would be something interesting to incorporate with what are the bathrooms like in general? What's bathroom etiquette in prison? What about shower etiquette? It's simple, and it's also not. There's a lot of I think probably specific to each prison rules of etiquette, maybe each state, whatever. The simple answer to how do you behave in a prison bathroom is however you want. No rules. Do whatever you want. That's where people go to fight. That's where people go to do pull-ups on the handicap stall while you're taking a shit. That's where people go to handle other types of intimate business that are typically done in a dim bedroom or with another person. So how do you talk about that and make it family friendly? I don't think you can. So, well, families aren't listening to that. Are they? Families don't listen to that kind of stuff together, do they? Is that a modern family? Is that a family in 2020? We listen to some dude talking about masturbating in prison. The kids need to know. So it's weird because each person goes to prison with different expectations of how other people should act in a bathroom, right? Some people think, I don't give a crap what other people do. I'm going to go into the bathroom. I'm going to get naked. I'm going to go take a shower. I'm going to go shit, walk around with my wanger out. Doesn't matter. Some people think that no guy should be within 15 feet of them while they're peeing, while they're, pooping, while they're showering. So step by step. The showers where I was at, it was a gator pit is what we called it, but it was an eight-person shower box. It was this big brick room, not big, sorry. It was a brick room about as big as, what is it as big as? So it was a brick room, I don't know, and it had just enough space for 8 guys to each stand at these shower heads and have like a foot and a half on either side of them to do what they needed to do. There were no dividers. There was only one central drain, which was, filled with everything, okay? Anything that a man creates in his body and can expel out of his body was in that drain, and not just in that drain, but on top of that drain. They came in one time while I was there within that year to clean it. I say they, it was a bunch of prison workers getting paid, maybe 13, 14 cents an hour. And they had been, provided with cleaning chemicals that we didn't normally have access to for fear of somebody making a bomb or something like that. And they cleaned it, and it was so bad that they had to bring in this company from the outside who had to bring in like this big pump. I've never seen anything like it, and I've seen a lot of like plumbing issues being handled, but this was like it was like a reverse cannon. It was, instead of like and shooting out, it would and it would suck in, and it filled the entire dorm with the most disgusting smell ever. It smelled like, burnt hair and duty and pee and sex stuff, and just awful. And then this black gooey water started flooding into the whole dorm, and it was like that for, I don't know, 2 or 3 days until they could figure out a way to fix it permanently. Basically, anytime anyone ran any water in the entire dorm, the drain would back up. So there's 160 guys. Anytime they got a drink out of the water fountain, poop water would fill the whole dorm. Anytime somebody took a shower, whatever, tried to make a cup of coffee, anything, brush their teeth, boom, black, bubonic plague, poop water everywhere. So typical prison rules for the shower is go in, do whatever you want within reason. People are going to get mad if you go in there and start, beating your meat without asking permission. Not permission, saying you need privacy. You don't have to ask permission for that unless you're very much bottom of the dominance hierarchy. So, but if somebody had gone into this, the shower, the gator pit, and had put a couple of these plastic chairs like blocking off the entrance, not so you couldn't get in, but like denoting that someone was in there, it meant that they were taking a private shower. And that doesn't mean anything gross. It just means somebody wanted to take a shower by themselves. Like, one thing that I will say that basically everyone in prison is pretty good about is understanding that when somebody is trying to get a piece of the outside world into their prison life, like a little bit of privacy, try to respect that. I mentioned earlier that people weren't very good about letting me read, but I don't think a lot of the people in there, because I'm not calling them stupid, I don't think reading was a part of their world before they came in. They probably didn't see people reading very much at all until prison. And so they kind of just didn't know like etiquette. Like if somebody's reading, they're probably trying to focus, and it was already difficult to focus in prison. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent. So somebody's got the chairs up, they're taking a private shower, and they could be doing any number of things, but it really did have to do mostly with they just wanted to be by themselves. People were not hesitant to let you know that they were planning on masturbating. I don't know. Can I say that? So masturbating. They would literally walk around saying to their friends like, hey, I'm going on a date, which meant that they were going to go to the handicap stall and put blankets all around it, over it, and get one of their, you couldn't have pornography, but you could have like near pornography. You could have like, women in bikinis, women in very, very slim underwear, but they couldn't technically be naked. You could order from the outside. There's these companies that provide pictures that are like prison safe pictures that you can just order directly and get shipped. So it's basically companies guaranteeing you can get these semi-nude pictures of women that the prison can't confiscate because they're following all of the necessary precautions that prisons dictate for something to be allowed in. So people would order from those. People had, all sorts of different magazines. Any magazine that ended up having a hot woman on it, plenty of people were hanging up pictures from perfume ads. These guys were desperate for women in their lives. It's not normal for people to not have access to interactions with the sex, the gender that they're attracted to. Okay, it's not normal for women to not be in a world where they at least have the opportunity to interact with men, assuming that everyone's heterosexual, which obviously is not the case, but just for this example, it's not normal for men to not have women to, pursue. Okay, that's not a crime joke, not criminal pursuing. We're not kidnapping anybody, but trying to court a lovely lady. If you don't have access to them, and that's a necessary part of our biology, and you can tell when something's missing. So these guys, it's not all about being gross and like loving boobs. They were hanging pictures because they were lonely. But like I said, they were also not shy about saying, I'm going to go into the bathroom, go on a date, or they'd call it hit a lick, which meant and hang up the blankets, they'd be sitting here, have a chair placed at the, like maybe 3 feet from them. They'd be leaning back against the toilet and have the magazine there, some toilet paper out. If they had candles, they would have lit them. It was that. Weren't embarrassed about it. And it was basically because everybody knew everybody was doing it, and you might as well get comfortable with it. I would be going into the bathroom to do number 2. I'd be sitting down, and then people would be doing push-ups in the bathroom. And so I'd be sitting, in the stall looking out, and all of a sudden I see this dude's feet, and you can tell he's doing push-ups. Or if he was really comfortable where he was at, you'd see his head, and he'd start talking to you while you're doing number 2 in the bathroom. And it was just something you had to put up with. Constant talking, constant yelling, people doing push-ups, hearing people, relieving themselves in more ways than one constantly. It was disturbing. It wasn't the most disturbing thing that you had to deal with, but it was a close contender. And I'll say this, before I went into prison, I was shy about using restrooms in public, and I have zero issue now. I don't think I ever will ever again. That definitely cured any bathroom awkwardness I ever dealt with. This whole in men's bathrooms, sometimes we expect that there be, a urinal between us. I'm on this urinal, you're on the urinal 2 away. What if there's not space, dude? Guess what? I'm getting snug up next to you, and if I'm cold, I'm going to rub against your shoulder because I am super used to it. So what are the toilets actually like in prison? Where I was, and I think this is pretty universal, they are metal. They are stainless steel. The urinals they looked like, they were just like open rectangles. They're not pretty, okay? Like no effort is being put in here to make them look like anything other than a box of metal that you're peeing in. They don't flush, like there's not, swirling, flushing water. It's more like almost an airplane toilet, like whatever the bare minimum is that they can do to get the smell out and make it slightly sanitary. That's what happens. It's not about, looking good for your house guests. It's just this, individual trough, basically. You pee into it, it goes down a hole, and maybe it'll flush most of it away. That's the urinals. The actual, sit-down toilets, if you want to really kick back and relax, it's just imagine, a toilet, but made out of stainless steel, and then remove the back from it and remove the seat. So it's just the one piece. There's no moving parts. If it's 70 degrees in the dorm, the toilet is a comfortable 50 degrees. So when you sit down, it's freezing. For whatever reason, that metal is always cold until you've been sitting on it for a minute, and then it's warm, and then you're done. So too bad. As far as cleanliness, could have been worse, honestly. I mean, the drain, like I said, in the showers were gross, but it really came down to people were trying to be respectful because they wanted people to be respectful of them. And I know that sounds crazy. You think maybe it's, it's a bunch of thugs in prison, a bunch of felons, criminals. They don't care about anybody. Not true. I think they just a lot of times have to see the immediate benefit. Like, we're not always the best at looking into the future. We need to know that, like, okay, so, I piss on the toilet seat. The next dude comes in, pisses on the toilet seat. There's 158 guys, blah, blah, blah. And then, I don't want that. So, and I think there was also a level of power involved for some guys with moderating restroom cleanliness. If they saw you making a mess, they would be really aggressive about it. They'd hand you a mop and say, clean it up. The mops weren't typically laying around without the guards getting them for you. I actually saw at one point when a fight broke out between two, I think it's probably like 10 total guys, like 5 and 5, 2 gangs. assuming it was fair. In the dorm that I was at, I don't know who, dude broke the mop, and so he was chasing people with like this homemade spear. It was pretty scary, and so that's why they don't let that stuff just hang out. So, a level of power comes with making sure people are keeping the bathroom clean. It's like the prison hall monitor. Like you remember like that kid in high school that like was going to make sure you knew what the teacher wanted. There's some of those guys in prison, and they love to make sure that the bathroom's clean. And to most of the people in the dorm, it's kind of a joke because, yeah, we all want it to be clean. Like, dude, back up. I'm not going to have a conversation with you right now about, if you liked how I washed my hands or not. So the safest bet in prison is just assume that everything is filthy and do your best to keep yourself clean. And honestly, most people in prison do a really good job of that. And if you don't, there's a good chance that people aren't going to let you stick around for very long. I'm not saying they're going to kill you, but they're going to check you in. I mentioned check-ins before. That's somebody that has to go to the guards to say, hey, I'm not safe, basically, like protect me. Checking in like they're checking into a hotel with the guards, and people will say, get your act together, clean yourself off, you stink. Like literally, like you're not brushing your teeth, your breath stinks, go brush your teeth. If you don't, you're out of here. And because nobody wants to be around that. We all have to live there. And that's I would say maybe something I miss about prison is I wish it was appropriate for me to say to somebody, your breath stinks, get it together, or you're going to have to go out. The cops are going to have to find you a home. That's how angry I am with you right now. So the toilets were not as gross as they could be. The biggest problem was the privacy. Non-existent. Like I said, on my bed, I got to hang some blankets, but if the wrong guard was around, he was going to tell me to pull them down. I had to get used to people doing push-ups in the bathroom while I was trying to relieve myself. Like, not like that. I'm talking number two. So it's just something you get used to, and it's something that adds to that layer of tension that you're constantly experiencing. It just never ends. It's always pressing on your shoulders, and you either sink or swim. You either figure out how to deal with it or you don't. So when I first got to prison, it took me about a week before I was able to like use the restroom normally. I only peed probably like once a day when everybody was asleep, and most of the day I spent in pain. My bladder was totally full, and I couldn't pee. Like I said, I was shy when I went in, and I could not pee. And eventually my body was just like, well, we're either going to, explode with urine or we're going to relieve ourselves. So I did. Number two, I had to ask somebody for it wasn't like a laxative, but it was like super strong fiber drink. It was really gross, gritty stuff that you added to water. He gave me like a triple dose of it. Huge mistake, but honestly ended up helping. But it was like 4 days of help, if you know what I mean. So, but that was it. After that week, I just settled into the fact that I wasn't going to have a private restroom experience for the whole time I was there. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll keep trudging towards that 1,000 subscribers so I can teach you how to make the taffy. But most importantly, I hope you have a wonderful day today. Thank you so much for all your support, all the comments, all the video ideas. Hello. Those were so good, for real. I wrote every single one down that you guys mentioned, and I will get to them. There's a couple that are going to be a little bit more emotional than the others, so those will take time only because I want to do them right. I'm not necessarily afraid to do them, but I want to make sure that I'm giving them the attention that they deserve. Not that I don't want to give the others the attention they deserve, but they'll be a lot more easy to just talk about than the ones that have a lot more feelings involved. So take care of yourselves. I will talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.